Hi, my name is Maya and welcome to the episode 46 of my knitting podcast where I share all my thoughts, process and other random stuff about all things fiber related, but mostly knitting. Today is the 25th of February 2025 and I'm coming to you from the French-speaking part of Switzerland where I live with my gecko. Today I have not too much to talk about, so shorter episode. I have two finished objects, one work in progress and one small acquisition, but I'm not even sure why I would show the acquisition to you because I cannot show you what I'm gonna knit with it, but whatever. So I don't have too much today, so hopefully. Anyway, let's start with what I'm wearing, which is my finished Camisole number 9 by My Favorite Things Knitwear, and it's finished, but actually not completely. You will see later. So I knit this using Explorer Knits and Fibers Earthy Sock in the colorway Heirloom, so this beautiful tomato red, and I'm still attached to the ball. I had two skeins and I have a little more than 60 grams left, so I will use about a skein and a half, something like that, which is what I was expecting, so I'm on track for that. And I knit a mix of sizes 1 and 2, so the front is size 1 and the back is size 2, so I have just a little bit more stitches on the back everywhere. And that's it. So it's not finished because I still have the needles in and I still need to do the bottom edging here. I haven't finished it because, as you probably know if you've knit this or if you've seen anyone that have knit this, the edgings take forever, and they did. I liked doing them. I didn't have any problem with the small needles and the sewing down the stitches, whatever, but it just took ages. So it's not completely done yet. And I was also not sure what to do with the bottom because you have this beautiful folded over, can you even see? I think it's completely blowing out. Detail here with the chain, the bind off chain that's visible towards the outside, and you're supposed to have a folded over detail at the bottom as well, but it's folded towards the inside because you knit one stitch while picking up a stitch a few rows below, and then you bind off that, which means that the bind off chain is hidden, which is not a problem in itself, but what bothered me was the double thickness at the bottom. Up here it's fine, it's up here, I don't really care, but I really wanted this to be a layering piece, and layering pieces for me are always tucked in, and I usually don't wear very thick pants, I don't really wear jeans, I'm usually in leggings or something like that, and you can really tell when there is a thick fabric just at the bottom here showing up. It really shows. So I've been really thinking very hard about that, and I decided not to do the folded edging for the bottom because I didn't want this extra bulk. So what I did is I swapped it for ribbing, simple one by one ribbing, which you can probably not see because I have like 2 rows. Which is very unusual for me. If you have seen me knit for any amount of time, you know that I usually I almost always swap the bottom ribbing for a folded over hem. I just do it all the time. I just absolutely love the way a folded over hem looks, and I put it everywhere. I don't really like ribbing. So you may be wondering, why am I swapping a folded over edge that I love so much for a ribbing that I don't really like? Just for the bulk, and also because it's gonna be inside my pants all the time anyway, so I don't really care what's down there. So even if it's ribbing and I don't like it, I don't care. So that's what I'm doing. And I will knit like 1.5 centimeter, really the bare minimum, so that it just doesn't curl up, and then do an Italian bind off. I love doing them. Even if it's hidden, you could think I could just do a simple bind off or something stretchy like Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off or something. Since it's hidden, I shouldn't care, but I love doing Italian bind off, so I will do one. Okay, the needles I used are 2.5 for the flat sections. You're supposed to use 3 millimeters, and I sized down to 2.25 for the in the round because I tend to purl tighter, so when I knit in the round, especially when I knit for miles in the round, I really loosen up a lot, so I sized down. And I'm glad I did that because you probably cannot tell on the camera, but when I look really close on the mirror, I can see a gauge difference and I can see that the top is tighter than the bottom. So I could probably even have gone down one more needle size to 2 millimeters, but that was a little bit overkill, so I didn't. And yeah, so the result is pretty clean. You cannot tell from afar that there is a gauge difference, so it's fine. I haven't blocked this, by the way. I have only steam blocked it, which is blocking, but I haven't wet blocked it. So it's not the cleanest it could be. I found that my gauge was pretty all over the place. Especially, when you look at the reverse stockinette side, you can see a lot more the gauges differences somehow. It's more visible than on the stockinette side. And when I was looking at my work from the wrong side, I was like, wow, my gauge is completely all over the place. But it's steam blocked out, so I'm pretty sure it's gonna be fine with the actual blocking. It looks fine. So I'm happy about that. And for the edgings, I had some troubles because I didn't have needles that were small enough to go down enough needle sizes for this, because you're supposed to go from 3 millimeters to 2 millimeters. But since I was already using 2.5, I couldn't go down to 1.5 because I didn't have them. So I bought needles, and I bought 1.5 millimeters and 1.75, and I did it the first time using the 1.5 millimeters because I wanted to go down the actual 4 sizes, and this is what they look like. You cannot see anything. I'm gonna take them out of the bag. So I did it the first time with the 1.5 millimeters, and the fabric was just too tight because I had to go down needle sizes because my yarn was a little bit thicker than the recommended yarn. The recommended yarn is 500 meters per 100 grams. It's the Knitting for Olive merino, cotton merino thing, and mine was 400 meters. So a little bit thicker, which is why I had to go down needle sizes, but it also meant that the more I went down, the denser the fabric was, and there is a limit to how dense you want your fabric, and it was just getting too dense. I was probably hitting the correct gauge with the 1.5 millimeters, but it was just too thick. And also I messed up because one of the gauge issues I have, my stitch gauge is correct, although I haven't remeasured it, but it was correct at the beginning, so I assume it stayed correct throughout. So the stitch gauge was correct, but the row gauge was off. It was way too tight. So I had to add a lot of rows in those sections, in the middle of the increase, I mean of the shaping of the underarm, as well as on the back. I had to add a lot of rows everywhere, also on the strap. So the first time I picked up my stitches for the edgings, I just followed the suggested pickup rate, which was completely dumb because I didn't have the correct amount of rows. So I had way too many stitches and it was way too dense, and yeah, it looked terrible. So when I realized, I had of course almost finished knitting, so I had to rip back everything, and yes, knitting on 1.5 millimeters is difficult. It was hard on my hands, but I took them out of the bag, but did I even show them? Don't think so. So here they are. They are like super small, and they are called 000 in US sizes. So I read back what I did. I undid the picking up, yes, and I started over by changing the pickup rate and using 1.75 millimeters. So they are just a tiny bit bigger than the other ones, and that worked fine. So the fabric is dense, but it's dense in a nice way. It feels like an actual edging. It does what you want an edging to do. Be stable and feel sturdy. So pretty happy about that. And now I officially have every single sizes of childhood needles, which is nice. I'm a completionist, so I like having everything of something, so that feels good. Another modification I did is that I added waist shaping that you can kind of see here. So I did decreases until my natural waist here, and then I did a little bit of straight knitting without shaping, and then I did increases, and that's all. I did 4 increase or decrease stitches every 8 rows, and it worked fine. I have roughly the same amount of ease everywhere, so pretty happy about that. And I think that's all for the modifications. The waist shaping, the row gauge. Oh no, I also added, you might remember, I added more length to the back panel here, not here, last time, but I went a little bit overboard and I added too much because I didn't know that the pattern was well written and already included more length in the back than in the front, because it's usually not the case, but it was here, so kudos to my favorite things knitwear. So I was considering removing a little bit of length on the back, and I did. I ended up doing it, and the funny thing is that I cut open about here, and then I removed, I think, 10 or 9 rows, something like that, and then I grafted it together again. And you probably won't see here on me, but even when I look very closely, I have no idea where I did the grafting. I paid so much attention when I was grafting the stitches. I was so careful with my tension that it's absolutely perfect. It's flawless. You just cannot tell where I did the grafting, which I'm pretty happy about. I just wanted it to be perfect, and I did everything I could to achieve this goal, and I did. So yeah, I ended up removing a little bit, but you might remember when I was trying it on last time, I didn't have the edgings and the underarm was coming very low, like something down here, and I did take into consideration that the edging here would pull it up quite a bit, but I thought it would go up to like here, including the edging. And as you can see, it's pretty high. It's going very, like, I really wouldn't want this to go any higher than that, because it's almost at my armpit, really. So the edging did pull the fabric a lot more than I expected, so I'm kind of regretting removing the length in the back, because I would have had like 2 centimeters more, and it would just be a little bit lower, and it would just be a tiny bit more comfortable. It's not bothering, but I can feel that it's coming into my armpits a tiny bit too much, so I just shouldn't have done that. I would have gained a little bit of arm side depth, but also this would have been a little bit higher, which I wouldn't necessarily want, so it's also one good thing for one bad thing. So the bad thing is that this is coming too high, the good thing is that this is not coming too high, so I'm fine like that, actually. But yeah, just a note, if I ever do this again, I will also add a little bit of length to the front, so that I just have a longer, this goes a little bit lower, because it's too high. And one more thing also, I just think that the top looks small. I think if it was like that, a little bit wider, like this, it would just be a little bit more proportionate. I think this looks like I have I have put like it just looks too small, in my opinion, and I think it's probably even worse from the back, because my back is wider. So I think if I do this pattern again, I would probably do like size 2 or even size 3, and then not do as many increases at the underarms, and not cast on as many stitches at the underarms, so that I just have something a little bit wider here without having too much fabric at the bust, because the bust is perfect. I would survive if it was a bit smaller, but it's okay like that. I'm fine. So yeah, one more thing I wanted to mention is about the color. So as I mentioned, this is a tomato red. It's called heirloom, like the tomatoes. And when I bought the yarn on Explore Knits and Fibers pre-order, it was like, I don't know, last spring, almost a year ago. And for some reason I expected it to be a cooler shade of red, like not tomato red, which is completely dumb because, I mean, it has the name of a tomato, so of course it was a tomato red, but I don't know, I just, in my head I was seeing somehow what I wanted to see, even though it wasn't a reality. And when I got the yarn I was like, it's a beautiful red, but it's a little bit too warm. I just prefer more cooler reds. I don't know how to say it. I have found an account, one of those accounts on, I'm sorry, my eye is twitching down here and it's really bothering me. I have no idea if you can see it or not, but sometimes, you know, it's like having, yeah, twitching. Sorry. Anyway, there is one of those accounts on Instagram that does color theory, like color pairing, seasons, winter things. I can't talk today, I'm sorry. And they have made a very helpful post to show the different reds for different seasons. Because all seasons can wear bright red, but it's not the exact same shade of red, and I think it's very helpful to understand how one single color can be different seasons. So I'm just gonna show you. I took some screenshots, and as you can see, the winter and the summer are cooler reds, but the winter is more intense while the summer is more desaturated somehow. It's still a intense red, but yeah, you can see what I mean. And the spring and autumn, fall, are just warm reds, so they are slightly bit more coral. They have a little bit more orange, so it's exactly this one actually. So I think this one is spring red. It's very bright, it's very intense. It doesn't have black in it, so it's not the burgundy from fall, autumn. So I think this one is more a spring, and my favorite is winter. So I was expecting a winter red, which again is dumb because this is tomato. This is exactly what I signed up for. Which means I still have room in my life for a top like this in a cooler red with a different shaping and with taking into consideration everything I have mentioned until now, because I really loved knitting on this guy. I just love small needles, I just love small gauges. It's an absolute delight. It was perfect from beginning to end. I loved every single step of it. So yeah, probably gonna make more. Again, not size inclusive, but again, very easy to modify. Just add more stitches everywhere. Do a little bit more shaping, cast on a little bit more stitches, do a little bit more shaping, cast on a little bit more stitches. It's easy to modify. Yeah, so I'm not gonna show it again next time. I'm just gonna complete the bottom here and call it a day, and then wear it a ton. I'm glad I finally have something I can layer under my sweaters in this kind of mid-season, because winter is already over here. We are past the minus degrees since a while already. So this is gonna be great. I'm so excited. I'm just so happy to finally have it. It was on my to-knit list for so long, since it came out, actually. So yeah, very happy about this one. Okay, my next finished object is here. Yeah. Wait. It's a hot water bottle clover. Hot water bottle clover. Yes, oh, I still have a stitch marker. And it's knit using the long slip stitch that I used in my melon sweater, and it's super cool. It's a thick fabric, it's very squishy. Also thanks to the yarn. This is De Rerum Natura Gilliatt in the colorway Aubépine, which is the red, and the black is Fusain. And I had 2 balls laying around in my stash that were stressing me out, so I finally found a use for them. Where are they? Here. And I'm super happy about it. So I have I used, wait, 31 grams of aubépine and 39 grams, no, the opposite, 39 grams of aubépine and 31 grams of fusain, the black. Because my main color is the red, I used a little bit more of the red, so it's normal. I haven't used half of this, which means I could do another one using this as a main color. Even not as a main color, I could do it, but as you can see, I don't have much of the red left because I haven't taken out the collar of this sweater yet. That is knit using this yarn held double, but I don't like the fit of this big thing, so I want to take it out. But I'd rather knit than take out something, so I haven't done it yet, but it's coming one day. I want to do not another hot water bot cover, but the cover for my tablet, which is not here, but yeah, it's gonna be around the same size, and I'm just not gonna have this guy on the top. So I have this very gorgeous detail, I-cord detail going along the edge, and then I did rapid decreases on the shoulders here, and then I did, my first idea was to make corrugated ribbing, which is ribbing, but there is one color for the knit stitches and one color for the purl stitches, and I did that for a while, but first it's super annoying to do. I hated it. And also the purls were kind of coming out of nowhere because there is not a single purl in this whole thing. Like you have all knit and then knit I-cords, so the purls were like, why? So I just switched, I ripped off the thing and then I did only 3x3 color work. So you have columns of 3 stitches in each color. And by complete coincidence, I had a multiple of 6 stitches when I started this guy, because I started doing the color work, and when I came back to the beginning of run, I was exactly at the end of the 3x3 motif. I didn't do it on purpose, but that was fun. And I need this for a little bit longer than the actual neck thing of the hot water bottle. That way, when I fill it up, I can just fold it down like that, and it's out of the way. And when I want to actually use it, I can fold it inside the thing like this, and it stays in, and it's protected, and I don't touch the plastic. So that's perfect. I'm super happy about that. So yeah. What did I wanted to say? I use 5.5 millimeters here. It's pretty. The needles are pretty big for the yarn. This yarn is light worsted, so 5.5 is a little bit much. But for this very tight stitch pattern, it's a good idea to use bigger needles. And I should have sized down the needles for the collar, neckline, turtleneck thing. I didn't, and it still looks good, I think. It doesn't particularly look sloppy or anything, so same needles. Someone asked me, I said I wasn't gonna make a pattern, but someone asked me if I could do it, and I'm still not sure, but for sure it's not gonna be this year, because as I mentioned, the cold days are almost over, so I'm kind of over warm stuff like that, and I'm leaving on holidays in 10 days, and I have a pattern release next week, so I'm not gonna try to write up all new pattern in the meantime, I mean before I leave for holidays. So if I do it, it's when I come back, like end of March, and end of March for me is winter knitting is over, it's spring and summer knitting, which is my absolute favorite things in the world. I just love summer knitting, so I'm not gonna write a pattern for hot water bottle cover when it's summer knitting time for me. So certainly not this year, maybe in the fall, if I'm not just completely over it by then, because it's gonna be in 6 months. But yeah, so if you cannot wait, or if you live in a hemisphere where winter is coming, this is long slip stitch. You can Google it, you can find it. I did do quite a lot of finicky stuff for the details and the edgings. As I mentioned, I did a thing, it's difficult to explain, to have a seamless join between the I-cord cast on and the corner here. And then I also did something special for the decreases, so that it would look, again, seamless here. I had to do it twice because I messed up the first time. And then I'm not super happy about that. I think I can do that better, but I don't care enough. Maybe if I write up a pattern, but it's not in the plans for now. I will see in fall, and in fall I'm probably gonna be over it. I'm pretty tired today, I don't know why. Oh, I know, I had to get up super early. So I think I'm probably a little bit more tired than usual. No idea if you can see that in the video. My next work in progress is in 2 pieces. I have finished the first half. I have bought this skin in a pre-order from Woolbury Fiber Company last year in December. This is the colorway Frost in the new Rambouillet DK base. It's a gorgeous super squishy yarn that I absolutely love. I had bought 1 skein of worsted weight for a cowl that I can't actually show. I just need to get it. So this is the cowl I knit. It's the Harmony cowl, it's my own design. It's a cowl. And I love this yarn and this color so much that I wanted to try out the new DK base. So I bought 1 skein and I wanted to make myself a hat. I wanted to make myself a muscle bro hat, which I have already talked about. However, I knit myself a muscle bro hat using a fingering weight skein, and it's a little bit too short. I can fold the brim, but it's a thin brim, and my preference goes for big fat chunky brims. I really don't like when it's a small brim like that. And if I didn't have enough yarn to do the brim I wanted with a fingering weight skein, there was no chance I could have the brim I wanted using a DK weight. You cannot go as far with DK weight yarns than with fingering. So I had 2 choices. Either I used another yarn in tandem with this one to make like the inside of the hat, to supplement the yarn I needed to make the brim as wide as I wanted, or I made a headband. So, since I already had this guy using this cable pattern here in the middle, I figured I could do a matching headband. So I did. I did the first half of the headband here, so you can see the cable. I just used this cable here and I put it on the headband, and this cable is framed by 2 3-stitch cables, and it's also here, as you can see. However, this is way too thin and I want this to be super thick and warm, just like a 4 layers muscle bro hat would be on my ears. I just wanted this to be super warm without having to add a fabric lining to it, because I don't like doing that. So I wanted to add more layers. However, if I just did a tube, like I cast on an actual tube and I knit the reverse side in stockinette, it would still be a little bit thin. I wanted more fabric than that, a little bit more than 2 layers. So what I could have done is knit this guy and then knit a simple stockinette tube, the same width as this, and then sew down this on top of the stockinette tube. That would make me 3 layers, but I don't have enough yarn for that. So I had to find something in the middle ground. Something thicker than a single layer of stockinette, but something thinner than 2 layers of stockinette. And what kind of fabric, of knitted fabric, has this type of characteristics? This slip stitch pattern. So I cast on the same, not the same number of stitches, but the same width, using the long slip stitch motif, but in single color. So this is what it looks like without striping colors. It's literally the same, but in one color. No surprises there. Which means, once this is done, I'm gonna seam the two of them together. And I'm gonna have a thick headband. This is very, very squishy and thick. That's gonna be warm, very squishy, and also reversible, because on one side, if I'm wearing this, I can wear the cable side out, and if I'm not wearing this, or if I'm just in the mood, I can wear it the other way around and have the long slip stitch out. That's super cool! I'm super happy! So, I have finished the first half. As I mentioned, I'm getting completely tangled. And you may wonder why I didn't just cast on in around and knit this on one side and then the long slip stitch on the other side. The reason is that the gauge of the long slip stitch is super small. No, the row gauge. Whereas this is just a normal stockinette row gauge. I think, no, not I think, for the fingering weight version, for the melon sweater, it's just the numbers I have in my head. The row gauge is 56 rows per 10 centimeters, whereas usually in the stockinette fabric, it's more like 35? I don't know, it's a lot less. So if I had cast on in around and have this on one side and this on one side, it just wouldn't work. I would have finished this guy and I would be only halfway through with this, which means it would be completely curling up on itself, and that would be a nightmare. So I had to knit it in 2 pieces, which is why I'm doing that. I have used, I think, 40 grams for this, so less than half. My skein was a little bit more than 105 grams. I think it was 106 grams, I think. So yeah, I used 40 grams for this. And I'm gonna use more for that, probably, I guess 50 grams, maybe 60. Which means I'm gonna have 5 to 10 grams left, which is perfect because I don't want to have just a simple headband like that. What I would like to do, I can actually show you because I did that for something else. I forgot I was attached to a ball of yarn. It unraveled and followed me through the whole apartment. Stay here! So this is what I have in mind. So this is knit using a, I don't even know how it's called, it's something I did years ago. So it has this stockinette like band? I don't know. Here that's folding on the fabric. The whole, this part is a tube like this the whole way around, but I just have like cinched in a little bit using this thing that's separated. So I would like to use the last 5 to 10 grams of this yarn to make a, how do you call that? A ring? Yeah, a ring like that. Because, I don't know about you, but when I wear a headband, this is supposed to be worn like that. With the ring on the front. Oh, that looks terrible. But I don't know if it's my head shape or something, but the back here always gets pushed up and then my ears are not covered anymore and it annoys me so much. So what I would like to do is to have the ring on the back so that it's not pushed as much by the bottom of my head and my ears are a little bit more covered. It's not perfect, but yeah, I really struggle with this being cold. The whole point of a headband is to have my ears be covered. So I hope that by doing this, instead of just doing a very long stripe without any shaping, I'm gonna avoid this issue of the bottom of the ear being not covered. I could do the knot thingy that I did recently for a friend's headband, but I don't really like the way that looks, and also it's kind of bulky and it is bothering me. So I prefer this. It's a little bit more flat. And also that way I'm going to use the whole skein. I hope. I hope I won't run out. That would be terrible. But we shall see. I knit this in like a day. But then I was power knitting on this guy. Wait, do I still have this on? I was power knitting on this guy, so I just put this on pause. and then I wanted to finish the hot water bottle cover, but now it's my only whip. Except I haven't finished this, but it's my only whip. That's interesting. What I really should have done is just bought 2 skins of this. I regret so much not getting 2, because then I could just have knit myself a muscle bro, and then I still would have enough to make a thin headband. That way I would have had the muscle bro, the thick muscle bro for cold weather, and then the thin headband for in between season, and that would have been so perfect. In French we say j'ai le seum. Okay, so that's it for this one. I don't have anything else to show you. Oh, I can show you. This is the original cover, the hot water bottle came in. It's very plasticky, and whenever I had my bare skin touching this, it was immediately this kind of weird wet feeling. I don't know if you can see what I talk about, so I'm quite glad I can finally get rid of this one. I'm not gonna get rid of this, but just not use it anymore. Okay, last thing I wanted to talk about is my small acquisition, because I mentioned in the last episode that I wanted to try a new cotton and wool blend for a summer t-shirt design that I cannot really show you because I want to submit it to a design call, so I'm showing you this even though you won't see the result. Unless it don't get selected, which I kind of hope it doesn't, because I want to knit it immediately. So this is the yarn I went and bought at my local yarn shop. So this is Holst Coast. And it's Galloway black for this one, and this one is black currant, so they are both black. I didn't do it on purpose. My plan was to have a heathered black, more like this one, and this is pitch black, but they didn't have any of this kind in my local yarn shop. Holst have a ton of colors on their website, but I just wanted to buy local. And I wanted a cream for the other color, which obviously they didn't have. I have no idea if they used to have it and it went out of stock, or if they never had like a neutral cream in this yarn in the shop. I don't know. But yeah, wasn't my plan, but I think it still looks great. It's not gonna be stripes, it's just one detail. This is the main color and one detail is gonna be in this color, so yeah, I just hope it's not gonna bleed either. Yes, whatever. What I wanted to say about this yarn is that it's so soft. Like, it's textured, I can feel the rusticness, but it's very soft. I'm so excited. And if this is next to Skin Soft for me, which is super sensitive, it's gonna open so many new horizons for me, because this is super cheap and there are so many colors. I have high hopes. I have already knit something using the super soft yarn. So this is the wool cotton blend of Holst, and the whole super soft is 100% wool. And I have knit this. This is my first in the round colorwork project since I started knitting a few years ago. This is the Selbu cowl by Inga of Knitting Traditions, and I wanted to knit a huge colorwork yoke, round yoke sweater using 3 colors. And I figured I could maybe try colorwork before by doing a smaller thing, and I use whole super soft for that. It looks amazing. If you really look closely, you can tell that it's a little bit trapezoidal. The bottom is a little bit wider than the top. It's a design feature. So yeah, I used those 2 colors for that, and this is definitely, oh my god, textured. I can really feel the yarn, but it's not itchy. I love how it stands up like that. It's just so great. I love this guy so much. Oh. And yeah, it's not bothering me at all. It's not itchy, but really, I can really feel it. However, I suspect that the most sensitive part of my upper body is not necessarily the neck. I think it might be maybe the shoulders and the arms. I don't really know, I'm not sure, but I feel like something rough here is not the worst I can have. And usually I'm more bothered by stuff that are hanging out on my shoulders and my arms, but it might also be that there is just more weight here, so it's pressing a little bit harder against my skin, which is why I feel it more. I don't really know, but it's why I have high hopes for this one, because the last time I knit with a cotton wool blend, it was Sandnes Gown Duo, and it was very soft in the ball form, but it was like next level itchy when I was wearing the thing, so this doesn't mean anything. However, having this being next to Skin Soft means a lot, considering that this one is supposed to be softer because there is cotton and less wool. We shall see. Let's just hope my design doesn't get selected. I'm gonna know probably in April, I think. I have no idea about the timeline. So that's it for my acquisition. And that's it for today's episode. I did the whole episode without having to change the battery. That's cool. So I'm gonna stop here and enjoy some shorter editing than usual. And I'm also gonna go sleep because I can feel the low energy. Today was hard. I think if I really listened to myself, I just wouldn't have filmed. But I was so excited to show all of this to you. Like, I'm just so excited. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, despite my probably low energy. I hope... I did that so many times during today's episode. I'm just gonna leave this one out so you can see. But if you see cuts in the video, it's usually because I do that. Yeah, I don't remember what I was saying. I don't remember. Yeah, I will see you probably next time. Next time, yes, I will see you next time. I will probably see you next week. Oh my god. Because next week is the release of the road trip jacket. I'm starting to get the finished object pictures from the testers and they are so good. I'm just so excited. So yeah, the road trip jacket is coming on next Friday and I will probably put out a podcast. I don't know when. Somewhere next week, you're gonna see. So don't forget to subscribe if you don't want to miss that. And I don't remember how to do an outro anymore. So thanks for watching. Happy knitting and see you next time. Bye.